There are calls for South Africa to seek maximum gains from its BRICS membership and to exercise its power as the bloc's current chair. This comes as the 15th BRICS Summit is hosted amid some criticism that South Africa has not made the most of its value in this grouping. Let's take you live to our business anchor, Tumisang Glovu, who joins us now to expand, Tumisang, on other matters relating to that gathering being held in Sandton today, on this, the third and final day.
Thanks, Michelle. We've spoken about trade and investment, but within the context of deliberations here at the 15th BRICS Summit has been how those gains are going to also be seen in the likes of the steel and engineering sectors in the country. I'm joined now by the COO at SAFESA, that is Dafazwa Chibanguzi. Dafazwa, thank you so much for your time. First, what is your biggest takeaway from this three-day summit so far?
Thanks, Tumisang, for having us. It's a real pleasure. Look, for us, we participate in BRICS actively because our view is that in matters of economic development, cooperation is always key. And particularly in this particular grouping, that, you know, the principle of cooperation would also stand true even if you had combined 5 countries of less development. But here you've got the second largest economy in the world, you've got the fastest, largest growing developing economy in the world. You have 30% of GDP coming together, that these countries command 42% of population. So the point really is that it's a pact of really powerful organizations, or countries rather, and for us, that being part of that pact, we definitely see that there's a lot of development that can come from this positive development through this cooperation. So on matters of economic policy, cooperation is always important, and that's why we view this as particularly important for our attendance. Takeaways, I'll be happy to unpack them because there's a number of themes, but we operating the manufacturing area, we were part of hosting the manufacturing forum on Friday, and from there we discussed everything from the green economy, which is well and true underway, and the role that the developing world, the global south, has in that area, how to cooperate on issues of manufacturing the equipment that will go into this green revolution, and we are all on the same page, right? So the green economy is a big area, financing is a big area, and I'll be happy to unpack details on some of those key areas.
Let's unpack that finance side, because with the challenge of load shedding and moving towards the green energy that the rest of the globe is going towards, funding is going to play an important role. How vital is the BRICS bloc and its plans towards that agenda in making sure that there is a roadmap of sorts?
Funding is a key enabler, Tumisang. You rightly identified. I mean, so much so that coming into this, there was a stat I came across the other day that traditionally, and we're talking African countries, but I guess you could extend this even to the developing world as well, more broader, that typically these countries borrow at anything between 5 times to 8 times higher than their counterparts in the Western Hemisphere, if you like. So the point really is that firstly, the bringing the equivalent of a new development bank, which I think for us is a key enabler in all of this, giving concessionary funding in financing the green agenda, because if we were to take the old order of financing at the cost that capital comes in at, the likely risk of projects not taking off purely because of a cost of capital perspective would probably limit the potential. But now we've got this financing institution through the new development bank, and we think that there's a lot that can come out of the potential of funding from a cheaper concessionary funding, and particularly in funding the green revolution. Just a final point, one of the DFIs, Development Finance Institution, that participated at this forum on Monday, also highlighted that they take a type of value chain approach. I think it's the African Development Bank, that they don't only fund, say, a technology, be it panels or batteries. You know, they would take the entire value chain from the mineral right up to the panel. And that's what we need in this particular case at concessionary funding. So we're very excited about developments there, and really it's on us to make sure that we make the most of that opportunity.
Lastly, is there stern confidence in the timelines that may come out as, the outcomes in the conclusion of the summit, that we will get to a point of materialization, implementation, where we tangibly see the products of the summit?
Yeah, it's a good point. And I think domestically we're usually notorious for having the best plans but not implementation. I think for us, and in fact we put out a comment yesterday that for us, firstly, we commend this development, the opportunity to development overall, in terms of the MOUs that have been signed. What we will then need to do, and particularly I'm talking to organized business organizations, is to keep our policy counterparts, policy development and policy actioning counterparts accountable, right, to making sure that traction goes. But then that's not to devolve the responsibility solely to them. We have a role to play, as we've already been playing this whole week, and really to be on us to make the most of that opportunity. So right now, I don't think one can mention timelines from an exact date and the rest. But that's a real responsibility that we all need to take as organized business, as state institutions, to materialize the benefits from this. Otherwise, it becomes an MOU signed and it just doesn't materialize from paper to tangible benefit. So, yeah, that's our commitment.
Timelines, funding, implementation, some of the themes that have come up with regards to deliberations on where the 15th BRICS Summit seeks to find opportunities of economic advancements.
All important issues. Tumisang Globo, thanks very much indeed for that conversation. Live to us there on the third and final day of the BRICS Summit in Sandton.